We now know the names of the victims and what the community has to say about the impact of the shooting.
And we're getting to know one of the gubernatorial candidates who's running for the 2016 elections, his views and more.
Plus, the Union Parish School Board system is on the chopping block once again. We'll have that for you more coming up.
Now, Louisiana's best newscast, live in high definition. This is KNOE 8 News, your breaking news and weather authority.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Gwendolyn Dupree.
I'm Tyler Smith. Your 5 o'clock newscast starts now. We start off with tragic news. Another shooting in Monroe. This time on Emerson Street near Lexington Elementary. Monroe police say it happened around 8:30 last night.
A father and his son got into a heated conversation last night. Police say the son, fearing for his own life, shot his father, who later died from his injuries. The identities of the two men has not been released yet, but the district attorney's office and Monroe police are still investigating this crime. We now know the names of the two victims in a double murder in South Monroe. Police say last night the two men got into an apparent altercation with the use of a gun that led them both to killing each other. And it all happened in a church parking lot off South 3rd Street. Our Ayla Ferrone has the latest.
When Pastor Alex Earl Jr. got to the Faith United Methodist Church this morning, he found bullet holes in the building and puddles of blood in the parking lot.
I saw all the blood that was up there. I came back this morning. I got all the blood up.
Cameron Mahoney and D'Angelo Parson were meeting for some kind of business transaction. Witnesses told police it started out calm before bullets started flying. Both men were shot and killed. Police say there's no reason to believe the altercation was over drugs. But Earl says he was shocked to find out this had all happened right at the church.
I thought that it was over there around the church. I had no idea it was at the church.
He and neighbors say this type of thing isn't uncommon here. But Earl says when there's police patrolling the area, it isn't a problem.
All this activity and all the things that be going on up and down this street and this one over here too. Those people with all of that would leave.
And that's what Chief Don Bartley and the rest of the Monroe Police Department are hoping they can do. Following a separate murder last week, just 2 blocks away from the church, Bartley says they will now be sending extra patrols to the area and even have the command center set up in the church parking lot.
We'll do our best to, like I said, to enhance the patrol down there and try to get a grip on whatever problems they're having in that area.
Earl says even though the extra patrols give him some peace of mind, the senseless killing has got to stop.
2 young lives just lost that just gone down the drain.
But for now, he and the church will keep moving forward.
Try to move on and with time, forget it.
After this crime, there has been a total of 7 murders in the city of Monroe so far this year. Chief Bartley says they'll keep an extra patrols and command centers in the area as long as needed.
And tonight, Mayor Jamie Mayo is sending his condolences to the families of both victims. In a statement about the recent homicides, he pleads with the community to come forward if they have any information, saying, quote, "In order to bring lasting change, it will take law enforcement and residents working together to truly eradicate the criminal element. And in order to reduce and stop the violence, we need the community to decide that enough is enough." If you'd like to read his full statement, it's on our website, knoe.com.
Tonight, firefighters say lightning might have been a cause in a West Monroe fire today.
The fire happened this afternoon at an old sheet metal shop that was being used for storage. It left major damage on the outside of the building. Fortunately, no one was there when the lightning hit. The West Monroe Fire Department is still investigating.
Hundreds of new laws take effect tomorrow in Louisiana, some that are completely way overdue.
Like overprotecting victims of internet crimes. Our Justin Page spoke with the Assistant District Attorney to find out more about these new laws.
It may seem obvious, but starting tomorrow, violators of what many call revenge porn will now be paying the price. Anyone who knowingly shares a nude or partially nude picture or video without the person's consent can now face up to 2 years in prison and a fine as high as $10,000. Assistant District Attorney Cindy Lavespier says they've received multiple complaints about this issue, and she hopes the new law will put an end to that.
If you know that this could make you a convicted felon, I would think that that would serve as a pretty good deterrent.
Another new law will allow victims of domestic violence to have the freedom to break a lease in order to escape an abusive situation.
Basically prevents them from being evicted solely because they were the victim of domestic abuse.
In this case, victims will need to provide documented proof that they have suffered from domestic violence in order to be granted the freedom to break the terms on a lease. Cindy Lavespier hopes these new laws will go a long way when it comes to protecting innocent people.
Both pieces are very important, I think, to helping victims in the state of Louisiana.
With the rapid advancement of technology, it's important for lawmakers to keep up, and the District Attorney's Office hopes that these new laws will be an effective deterrent. In Monroe, I'm Justin Page, KNOE 8 News.
And other legal changes. More information will now be distributed to the public about Louisiana's safe haven law that allows a parent to give away a baby until they're 2 months old. And state wildlife officials will be able to enforce federal requirements for shrimp nets to include escape hatches for sea turtles.
Tonight, we're getting to know one of our gubernatorial candidates ahead of the October 24th election. The Monroe Chamber of Commerce is hosting luncheons for each of the 4 running. Today, it's Scott Angel's turn. Angel is a District 2 Public Service Commissioner and a former Lieutenant Governor. He's a Democrat turned Republican. Angel says he is pro-life and a pro-Second Amendment conservative. He believes bipartisan government works, that we have to invest in workforce development, and we have to get our fiscal house in order.
I'm a bottom-up candidate, having served 16 years in local government. I view myself as a guy who started at the very bottom, and I think when we think of folks who started at the very bottom of any part of their career, they approach problem solving a little differently, more inclusive and whatnot.
KNOE is profiling all of the candidates. The 4th and final candidate is David Vitter on August 27th. You can find all the candidate profiles at knoe.com.
A Super PAC Challenges campaign rules, and Louisiana taxpayers are left with the legal bills to the tune of $69,000. The Fund for Louisiana's Future challenged the idea that it was unconstitutional to limit contributors, and they won. And the judge ordered the state to cover their legal fees. The PAC supporters gubernatorial candidate David Vitter. The Fund for Louisiana's Future objected to a state law capping individual contributors to PACs at $100,000 for each 4-year electoral cycle. They say they're limited to free speech, and a federal judge agrees. The Louisiana Republican Party is snubbing one of its own.
The party endorsed former Congressman Jeff Landry over incumbent Buddy Caldwell in the race for Attorney General. It's the first time in nearly 25 years the party hasn't supported a sitting Republican in a statewide election. The party says Landry is better qualified for the job because he's more conservative than Caldwell. But Caldwell shot back, saying he's never had the party's endorsement and he's fine without it.
Well, the Republican Party has never endorsed me, and it's always brought me good luck. The bottom line is, how can a party endorse someone in good faith who's never tried a case?
Caldwell used to be a Democrat, but switched parties in 2011. He was elected that year with no opposition. Later, we'll hear from the Republican Party. Tonight, a former Spearsville police chief is facing life in prison after being convicted of aggravated rape. This is 66-year-old Steve Bodine. This week, a Union Parish jury convicted him of rape after 3 victims testified against him. Bodine was accused of raping a 4-year-old child, and witnesses testified that through the years he had raped children ranging from 4 to 14 years old. 3 of the 5 victims drove hours to get the opportunity to testify against the defendant. One of the victims was just a child when she was molested at a daycare center in Arkansas, operated by Bodine and his wife. Bodine will be sentenced on August 10th.
A Downsville man is behind bars charged with kidnapping a minor from Ouachita Parish on July 27th. An investigation by Ouachita Parish deputies revealed that the juvenile was traveling with this man, 22-year-old Tony Free Jr. The pair were located in Alabama. A day later, Free is facing charges of interfering with child custody and simple kidnapping. The young woman was returned to her family.
The Union Parish School Board is being sued once again, just weeks after a judge ruled in favor of the school district. This suit stems from an early court case that was settled in June. 5 of the 6 plaintiffs named in the suit sit on the board of directors of Downsville Charter School, including board president and Downsville Mayor Reggie Skanes. In the first suit, the group alleged the charter school was not receiving its fair share of parish tax dollars and tried to block the construction of a new Union Parish high school. Even though the first suit was thrown out, the plaintiffs say they found new evidence and are asking a judge again to stop construction. Superintendent George Cannon tells us construction will begin within 45 days.
Grambling State University new president will soon celebrate 30 days on the job, and he has already hit the ground running. But who is he, and is he able to tackle the university's most pressing issues like low student enrollment, the loss of undergraduate nursing program, and a 4-year $1 million deficit? In a special report, our Nicole Cross takes a close look into the life of Dr. Willie Larkin and why he says overcoming his own struggles has prepared him to lead by example. Tune in tonight at 10 for this exclusive.
Coming up, this year marks the 10th anniversary of the devastating Hurricane Katrina. How New Orleans are celebrating and bringing new facilities to the area.
This month is National Hurricane Month, but it also marks the 10th year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu wants to bring victory to the city by opening new recreational centers to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Bill Capo reports.
As Mayor Landrieu cut the ribbon for the new Stallings Recreation Center and pool, he saw it as a victory.
Years of hard work have led us to this particular point. We're getting ready to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Katrina.
Like so many, the mayor will never forget those dark days.
Well, I was here the next morning. I was one of the first people back in the city.
During Katrina, I stood right over across the street watching the trucks bring people from over the bridge from the flood.
Bywater resident Joey Kennedy will always remember the incredible damage.
And I remember smelling all the death in the air.
You didn't think we'd be back this far, did you?
Really and truly, I didn't know that we were going to be back, period. But now we are.
Mayor Landrieu saw the $6 million restoration of the Stallings Center as an example of a better New Orleans emerging from the flood.
You've never seen centers like this in the city of New Orleans before.
The city and the region were losing jobs and population. We had a very weak economy.
The data center issued the New Orleans Index at 10, cataloging how the city has changed.
From criminal justice reform to housing reform, et cetera, and school reform, right?
10 years ago, 80% of the city flooded. Now you find the water in pools. Great pool, huh?
Yes, sir.
But for all the work that's been done, everyone agrees there's still so much more to do.
The city still has 27% poverty. We still have really low employment rates for black men in particular.
I want people staying focused on the things that do work, where we find common purpose. We have to, again, invest in infrastructure, invest in people.
We got to get something going with these younger people. You know, I mean, this city has to change with the youth up.
Girls and boys, this is for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have fun. But in a couple years, the burden's going to be on your shoulders to be the leaders of this city. One of you is going to be the mayor.
I think that what New Orleanians have realized is that if we work really hard, we can change our city. I think we didn't believe that before Katrina. And the thing is that we have to keep doing it.
It's a headline we're all used to seeing at this point: shootings. They've happened locally with Thursday's double homicide and a shooting Monroe had last week that has police still searching for the suspect. They're also happening across the nation.
That's right. 9 people were shot at an East Brooklyn party early this morning. 4 others were hurt with cuts and debris. All injuries are minor and not life-threatening.
Here's a wrap-up of stories trending on social media. The funeral for Bobby Christina Brown was held in an Atlanta church yesterday afternoon.
Family and close friends came to mourn the daughter of the late Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown at a private service in church in Alpharetta, Georgia. Among them, Grammy winner Monica, Tyler Perry, and Atlanta Mayor Kasem Reed. The public was prevented from approaching the church, but that didn't stop fans from saying their goodbyes.
Tom's back with your 7-day forecast for where you live after the break.